Now we're going to talk about the endothelium, that lining of the vessels. It has a global role, so all endothelium do some things, and then endothelium in certain locations will have specific roles for that location also. All endothelium regulate hemostasis, which means this blood stasis. It maintains vascular permeability, mediates acute and chronic immune responses, and it controls vascular tone. What the endothelium does is produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a cellular signaling molecule that regulates vasodilation, insulin secretion, airway tone, peristalsis, and angiogenesis and neural development. So creation of new blood vessels and neural development. There are two different pathways that produce nitric oxide. One pathway, the primary pathway, is called the N-arginine nitric oxide synthase pathway. This is the only way the brain produces nitric oxide. The nitrite nitric acid pathway is a secondary pathway. This pathway is primarily activated during low oxygen conditions when the L-arginine pathway is less efficient. This is not how nitric oxide is produced in the brain. The primary job of nitric oxide is vasodilation. So in the primary pathway for production of nitric oxide, we need the help of certain enzymes that are called nitric oxide synthase. Nitric oxide synthase has three different forms: the neurologic form, the inducible form, and the endothelial form. The endothelial form and the neurologic form are thought of as being primarily anti-inflammatory, while the inducible form is thought of as being inflammatory. Neurologic nitric oxide synthase produces nitric oxide in neurons. It has longer-term synaptic transmission and is associated with learning, memory, and neurogenesis. And as I mentioned before, it's generally anti-inflammatory. Inducible nitric oxide synthase is activated by the macrophages, and it activates an acute inflammatory cascade. It generates reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species, so highly inflammatory. Endothelial nitric oxide synthase is predominantly expressed in vascular endothelial cells. It increases calcium concentrations, promotes vasodilation and angiogenesis, inhibits platelet aggregation and adhesion, and limits leukocyte trafficking to the endothelium.